Hi, everybody. Welcome today for our Tuesday regular weekly show about U.S. immigration. Taking your questions live. It's May 27th, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. And we'll take your questions for general education purposes only, not intended as individual legal guidance. It's only so much we can talk about here. We need to have a private session with you to really learn what's going on with your case. But you can always schedule a consultation. Go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. And that's where you could put some information there for us to respond about scheduling a private consultation about your case. We are updating our website, adding a lot more content there. We have hundreds of thousands of immigration videos that answer most of the questions people ask, but we're going to organize on the website. So if you go to jklaw.com in the coming future, even now, you have more and more content that answers a lot of your questions. So we have our first question popping up. Anavpreet says, how long for F2A? That really depends on the government, at least taking 3 years right now, if not more, but we'll have to see. There's a thing called the Visa Bulletin, and the F2A is a spouse or minor child of a green card holder. And that category, unfortunately, is backed up. They're doing cases from early January right now, or January 2020 right now. So yeah, it's a situation that's like unbearable for a lot of families. But that's the situation we see right now. Visa tools. I gotta get some. Okay, US IV visa wait times. And there's a new website for the State Department. I'm trying. It's called IV Immigrant Visa, IV Scheduling Status. We want to keep that open because I'm sure we get 100 questions about timelines, and that could be a way to look it up really quickly to get some general guidance right there. He had a question. Moral says, does the unpaid loan overseas less than 20,000 affect F400? Loans per se don't, but if you have like lawsuits against you, there's a good moral character component for citizenship. Frankly, in the last 30 years, it hasn't been enforced, so typically not. But if you owe back taxes to the United States, that's one. Or if there's other accusations of theft or fraud or something that might come like that, that could be problematic. We have to see exactly what the situation is and what the consequences are for you for that loan. But typically, it's not something that really comes up in a citizenship context. Patel Rami, it's good to see you. Hello, John, one of our regulars coming in again. Good to see you. Natalie says, why does my EAD might have been terminated while my I-485 is still being reviewed? That's not a typical situation. I rarely hear that the work permit was terminated while the adjustment of status for my I-485 is being reviewed. You should get a notice in the mail or in your online account if you set it up, a termination or denial notice, and you do it there. So I'm not sure. It's not a typical thing. That's 100% something you want to contact immigration lawyer in private to talk about because it could be something really bad or it could just be a mistake too. Faiz says TPS going to renew or not. Well, that's not my decision. That's up to the president and what kind of TPS. There's different types. There's different TPS for different countries. There's TPS for different countries. Some are going to be renewed, some are not. But that's a political question. It's not something I can answer here. TPS, for those who know, it's short for temporary protected status. From certain countries, if you're visiting the United States and a bad situation happens in your home country, for example, you're in the U.S. And then Ukraine, the war happens. The U.S. will declare temporary protected status. People from that country on a certain date will be allowed to stay here and get a work permit while the issue is pending. Some countries that have had TPS for over 20 years, maybe even 25 years. So it just depends on the situation in the country and if they want to renew it every 2 years, so they renew it if this problem is still existing. Natalie asks, there's nothing, and this is my second time applying for adjustment of status. Well, that's already a thing. Why are you second time filing adjustment of status? It's like there's more deeper stuff. Hopefully, it's nothing. But that's definitely adds even more red flags to me when you had an adjustment of status denied before. So that's an issue. Francis, can you get a spouse green card approval after past F1 rejection 6 years ago? So F1, if you're referring to a student visa, that's unrelated to the marriage case unless there was some sort of fraud or misrepresentation involved in that F1 or the F1 was denied for something like criminal history. So can you get approved? Yeah, usually you can, but we need to know the reason for that rejection and other information regarding your current case. What evidence do we have your relationship? What is the background of the foreign national spouse? Like their criminal history, their documents, birth certificates, police certificates in order, as well as your affidavit of support. How does that look like? So we have to review and look at all these to get a good understanding of what's going on. 214B rejection. So a 214B rejection is just a basic one that they're afraid you're going to come to U.S. and not leave. So that's not a bad one, but we all do want to double check to see what was said in the previous application. But most likely it's okay. But again, friends, I gotta do analysis individually, see what's going on in your case. Do check out my guide for those interested in the fiance or marriage green card guide. We have the 50+ page guide that goes through a lot of the details. There's video training seminars on it. It's a PDF guide. It has a chart that breaks down what you could do and videos for each chapter discussing what the things are. It's really helpful. If you want to access it, go to the website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's free, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Patel also held, sir, my documentary qualified F3 file, mom, daughter filed. My document is qualified April 3rd, but still not coming. Email, please help, sir. Just wait. There's nothing I could do to help. Just wait. That's the only thing I could say. Jeffrey says, I've been in SILE for 10 years, now applied for a marriage-based green card. I traveled to Ethiopia 3 times with a refugee travel document. Will that be an issue in my interview next week? Well, if you've been SILE, why are you adjusting status based on marriage? It's kind of, so that's right there is kind of like, we got to see why that happened, because there might be more to it. And they are cracking down on people who visit their home country, even though they're not supposed to. But we haven't seen them be strict at an airport. But I mean, things have changed. But I'd say inevitably you have no choice. As long as they don't accuse you of fraud, and they don't travel internationally, just stay in the U.S., most likely be okay. But this is a fast-moving situation. Nid says, approved asylum and got green card through marriage. Can I travel to other countries with my native passport? Well, that's interesting. 2 questions from different people at the same time. So no, the rules are that if you got asylum or apply for asylum, you're not supposed to be using the protections of your home country. This could include traveling to the home country, using the passport of the home country, and those are reasons why they could take your asylum away, even ban you or try to prevent you from coming in again or taking away your status. Now, historically, since I've been practicing immigration law and double that, they have never really enforced this rule. But under Trump administration, the last month, I've heard rumors of some people getting stuck on this, so they're finally deciding to enforce it. So I strongly, strongly recommend not using your passport, traveling to your home country, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. Now it says they asked for IRS tax transcript and they claimed we didn't send it. We're getting more and more information, like situations where the government's claiming that people did not respond to a request for evidence, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, the thing about an online system, if you use it, you can upload it, and there's confirmations that it's there. But good to see. Okay, that's the situation. I understand. I don't know why they would terminate your EAD. It doesn't make sense to me, but government does mess up stuff sometimes. Sammy asks, my sister's I-130 approved same day on the interview, but nothing on the I-45. I don't know enough about the case. It could just be a fluke, or it could be more. I can't say. Now this happened. Yeah. TikTok, any comments about the student visa ban? I was going to get to that, but you got so many questions popping up immediately, but definitely going to talk about the situation with student visa holders. Jeffrey asked, I use travel document to fly back home, never use home country passport. Well, I'm not sure if your home country will allow you to enter with a refugee travel document if you're from that country, or you issue a visa to be listed in travel. So that doesn't make sense, but if that's the case, that's the case. It's a risk that you run. Most likely it'll be okay, but I wouldn't travel internationally at all. Okay, so, and even until you get citizenship, really, it's fraught with difficulties. Unfortunately, it's a new reality. So an important situation happened today, only a couple of hours ago, was that President Trump announced that he's pausing student visa and M visa. Student visas are called F1s. There's an M1 visa for vocational schools, so it's like a student visa. And there's a J1 for culture exchange and research and stuff like that. Essentially, there's student type visas, F, M, and J. There's a pause on doing visa issuance to these categories until they create a system to better gather social media presence of the people asking for these visas. So this is really traumatic because it's May right now. A lot of people have been accepted to schools, top schools, or put money aside and put off, not accepted other schools to go to because they're coming here to the United States to study for the fall. And all of a sudden right now, you cannot get student visas. Maybe they'll be quick to set it up again. For now, at least for now, today it's paused. Now, the issue for us as immigration behind the scenes is a lot of times people are in the United States on their parents' work visas, their children, they have tourist visas, they want to study. And almost always I recommend leaving the U.S. and doing the embassy route because changing status to a student visa in the U.S. is fraught with difficulties and it's very expensive. So I typically say, save the money and save the hassle, just go to the embassy, get the visa, and come back. But today I have to contact several of people we've consulted with in the last month or two about this and say, hey, don't do that because now if you leave, you can't go. so that's the situation. We'll talk more about this question as counselor. Any other questions I want to get to? Patel says, hello, sir. Please help me. I have F3 filed. I already answered your question, Patel. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. Just be patient. If your documents are called April 3rd, that's less than 2 months ago. It's very normal for these to take that high. I know you're anxious and you really want to get it done, but it's not really realistic. Just be patient and see what happens. Jerry Falls, okay, answer that question. Let's go. Pause. I guess not a bad idea. Fatma says, my case is currently documentary qualified at NBC in Kenya. Until now, it's 4 months, no interviews. Unfortunately, the U.S. Embassy in Kenya is really backed up. We did a marriage to a U.S. citizenship case. It takes 2 or 3 years. Fatima, you asked your question like three. You just keep asking your question over and over again, which is kind of rude for a show like this. But you left out important. What kind of case is it? You just have a case? Is it preference category, work category, media relative category? So instead of just repeating your question, I was going to let you answer this, but I'm just going to put you on mute because unfortunately, that's bad etiquette on a live show to spam. I was going to answer your question, but sorry about that. I need to know what category you are. I was going to give you guidance to go to Google, type in IV scheduling status tool, and put in Nairobi for the kind of category you have, and it'll tell you which case documents are qualified. Unfortunately, you spammed the discussion box, so I just muted you because it's hard to keep track when people are doing stuff like that. It's inappropriate. Evie says, I had my interview 11 days ago and I-130 is approved. I-45 still pending. Is that normal? Yeah, it's 11 days, a little more than usual, but it's typical nowadays to have that separated. It might be something I just can't say based on the little information that I have. Dr. Ahmed asks, how long after the interview I applied for writ of mandamus if my I-45 is still pending? I'm not sure if you want to file for writ of mandamus. That just causes more problems in those kind of cases. I'd recommend don't do that unless it's a unique situation. Unless we know your case is 100% clean. Because what happens is sometimes there's issues that they're on the fence on. You file the writ of mandamus, and the officer says, okay, I'm just going to look at it negative discretion and deny it. So this is a really fact-intensive and a decision you have to make whether you want to push the issue like that. S says, how long is the interview wait for U.S. Embassy in Saudi? Well, it depends on what category case you have. Yes, so let me know what kind of case it is. Natalie says, what can I do? Just wait for them to mail me the reason, even though my FOIA was an accurate review? Yeah, that's it. TikTok said, anything changed with I-751 since the new administration? No, we haven't seen any particular changes in that category. Marco says, I have a student visa. I want to go back to Spain, back home. Do you think that would be a problem to come you? Well, if you have an active, valid visa, it probably should be okay, but I can't really recommend or give advice individually here because I don't know about your background. You might have issues that I'm unaware of. So I don't want to give you that advice. Generally, unless it's an emergency, stay home and you already have a valid visa. If you have to renew your visa, get a new visa stamp, then don't do that for sure. But I can't give individual legal guidance like that. Jeffrey asks, thanks for your time. Last question. Would I go with a lawyer on my marriage interview coming up? If you like, it's your decision, Jeffrey, if you want to do that. Sammy says your life is pausing, so I didn't hear you. Could you ask your question again, Sammy? There's so many questions. I don't know which one was your question. And let me go on Instagram real quick. I changed the page. I missed a bunch of people there, I think. Sog says, I have a legal entry overstay visa. Got my I-130 approved. Child over 21. Currently on DACA. Not scheduled yet, but I have to do an embassy interview in Belize. Is it hard to get approved? If you didn't accumulate unlawful presence days and you don't have other issues, then that's good. But I don't want to give you a hard easy. I don't know enough details about your case. Inevitably, sometimes the embassies make mistakes and stuff. So if you have, it depends on when your DACA was approved, for example. You may need a waiver, and the waivers. So that's too case specific to be able to say there. Please schedule a private consultation time so we can check the issues to see if you're subject to inadmissibility, a ban of some kind. Well, Miss, do you have any approval of green cards based on refugee asylee? Seems like there's no pause in people getting them. We don't only do like a couple of asylee adjustment cases, green card cases a year, and we haven't had one in like 6 months, so I don't have timelines on that. Okay, so EB, please stop asking your same question over again, so we cut it off. SU says, how's the wait time interview in Saudi U.S. Embassy? Again, S._USA. I asked you what kind of interview, what kind of cases. Please provide details. Every interview has different timelines. And I'll tell you estimates. Now it says, what can I do? Just wait for them? Yeah, that's it. User 508 says, we filed I-751 2 weeks late on accident. Could they really deny it on that? Wrote affidavit. They could deny, but if you wrote a letter with it, normally they'll just accept it like normal. You should have had the fees cashed by now. So wait another week. If not, I don't know. I hope you did postal tracking so you know if they got it or not. They signed off on it. So you need to do extra stuff to make sure it's good. Big Deal says, tell me about the L1 visa. Well, I just did a video that's online about it. But the L1 visa, the intercompany transfer, is when you're an executive manager or specialized knowledge worker at a foreign company and you're being transferred to an affiliate or subsidiary or parent company inside the United States to continue or do some sort of manager, executive, or specialized knowledge work. Now, these terms are highly technical and subjective. So if you're a manager at your store, doesn't necessarily mean it's the manager that they want for immigration. It's a very hard visa to get, but companies need to get it, and so we do handle these cases. But it's important to show the companies are registered and they're related. The work that you do back home and the work that you'll be doing here, as well as a lot of other stuff, background information about yourself and the company to get that in. S2SA follows up saying it's an F2A case. You're welcome, Sophie. Thank you. You're welcome. F2A is a spouse or adult, a minor child of a green card holder. And if we look up family-sponsored preference categories, the preference F2A is what they call it. In Saudi, cases are in Riyadh. Right now, the State Department is saying cases that were documentarily qualified, National Visa Center reviewed the documents and are qualified. They're scheduling appointments for May cases had this done in May 2025. So I'm not sure, S_USA, where are your cases? Are you with USCIS or are you with the embassy? And also, what is your priority date? I just need more information. I do recommend scheduling a private consultation, double check on stuff, but that's the situation there. Okay, Sammy asks about the I-130 approved same day. I-485 is pending for 45 days now. So that's troublesome, Sammy, that your I-485 is pending for that long. That's not typical. I strongly recommend reviewing your case to see if there's something particular that stands out about it with an immigration who knows what they're doing, see if something's weird. If I would say fees were cashed and got noticed, then you're good. Then that went through. I'm not sure why they would deny based on late filing. They accepted your late filing. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So that's the situation. Now, the I-751 removal condition. This is about a case where people got their green card through marriage, but the marriage was relatively new. And because of that, once they get the green card 2 years later, you got to file another application to continue to prove that your marriage is real, wasn't a fake marriage for green card purposes. And so that's the form I-751 removal of conditions. Conditions being that 2-year green card is conditional. To remove the conditions, get a full 10-year green card, you got to file that case. You have to have a lot of evidence of your history of your relationship and continue, lease agreements, bank accounts, travel records, letters, photos, and stuff like that. Problem is, the government doesn't have too many officers reviewing those cases. So we're seeing huge delays, a lot of times 2 to 3 years before they even get to reviewing the I-751 form and making a decision. A lot of times, if you've been married and living with a U.S. citizen throughout that time, you file for citizenship, and that kind of fast forwards everything due to the citizenship aspect. Now, Kakias asks, is the 1040 W-2 pay stub enough if we still didn't receive 2024 tax transcript? We also have joint spouse. So if you're talking about the affidavit support, that the personal tax return W-2 pay stubs is supposed to be enough, sometimes they may ask for a tax transcript. 2024 tax transcripts may not be out yet, but that's embassies in particular ask for that. SUSA asked the question again, F2A. I'm not sure. So S_USA, you have an F2A interview, document qualified March 2025. What is your priority date? If your case is not as after January 2020, then they're not going to schedule a time until your priority date is current. Right now, F2A is January 2022. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the year is wrong. January 2022, not 2020. I was saying that earlier. F2A is January 1st, 2022. So if your priority is after that, they're not going to schedule your interview. The Dopest African says, would you advise travel with the advanced parole document waiting on a green card this time? I generally don't. I recommend getting it, but not traveling on it unless it's a real emergency. But not having reviewed your individual background, I can't really give advice. But if you don't need to travel, it's not urgent, don't do it. Paul says, do I need to have a real ID to fly in America? I think that's an upcoming rule that's coming up. If you have a passport, you could use that. But the rule's coming up that you need real ID for internal travel. All right, everybody. I think we got 10 minutes more left. Feel free to shoot out your questions. Let me go back to Instagram. Thank you for joining there. Usually we have a gazillion questions, but hey, these are good questions that are coming up. Jake says, waiting on a disposition that could take 10 weeks. Should I wait or explain and send an application? I'm not sure what disposition you're talking about, Jikes, and what kind of case you have. So, and it's asking for individual legal guidance. So without all the information individual, I can't guide you, but give me more info. Maybe I give some general stuff, but it's not enough for me to be able to even begin to answer your question. So let me go back to the big news that's happening right now. It's the pause and suspension of visa interviews for people applying for student visas, F1, M1, and J1. F1 student visas, M1 vocational school students, and J1 culture exchange, researcher kind of visas. And those are really important because a lot of people that coming here to cure cancer and stuff are coming on J1 visas, and a lot of like top researchers and PhD students coming to really do groundbreaking work in physics and math and all the stuff that's going to make a difference in the world. They're coming as F1 students. It's and frankly, F1 students, that's our pause right now, they subsidize American students. They pay for like a chunk of the university and college costs because they have to pay higher out-of-state tuition. And because of that, it subsidizes domestic people in the United States or residents here. So this is going to hit the underlying income for universities and colleges, and they're going to see layoffs and price hikes that are going to happen immediately at this point because they're going to be out millions and millions, if not billions of dollars because of this decision on a whim. We'll see. Trump does turn around and make a decision in the morning and change that night, but it stresses people out, and we're already seeing people that contact me or family members or clients and saying, I was going to come to the United States on vacation. I was going to come start a business there, but there's not enough certainty. It's just on a whim, they're making things up. I'm not sure how a business person thinks it's okay to just like change rules, tariffs, this and that overnight. Like, this doesn't make any practical sense. If you're gonna do something, say, okay, we're gonna start this, we're gonna do this, but just give some pause or some certainty so people could plan their lives. This kind of stuff, it burns bridges. So it's a sometimes you build your reputation up for years and years doing hard work, and with one mistake you could just destroy your reputation. And hopefully that's not the case here. But just in our personal lives too, you could do a lot of good, but one wrong thing, one bad thing could make people not trust you anymore. So it's a dangerous game to play. And thank you again, Safi. I appreciate this Q&A. Thank you so much. If y'all have any questions, please shoot them out. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi. I take your questions live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern about U.S. immigration law for general education. If you're interested in a marriage, green card, or fiance visa case, we have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. You can download for free at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's got charts and videos explaining everything. That's going to be really helpful. So even before you hire an immigration attorney, you read that. So when you have the interview and consultation with a lawyer, you ask some really good questions. You don't go over the basics that you could just get anywhere. You have it all in one place. You read that. It takes a little bit. It's a book, essentially. But it really helps out a lot. Enough people join it. Thank you, Musa. Thanks for joining. JD Cow says, do you do redoing conditions on green cards? Yes. I mean, it depends on the facts, but sometimes you have to refile it. You have to refile quick because you might get sent to immigration court. We don't handle immigration court office, but if we can get it in back in time, it's good. But we got to see why the first one was denied, what's going on. So definitely, JD, schedule a consultation as soon as possible on our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in that information and we'll send you guidance on scheduling consultation, what you need to know. Like, for example, I'd want to see the denial notice first, see what's going on, or maybe fill us in what the denial was when you fill out the boxes on the website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Hey, Josh, good to see you. So again, we're taking immigration questions live here today. I'm in Los Angeles where we handle cases from across the world. Please share your questions, your thoughts, and share it with your friends who are watching. It's an opportunity to get to know a lot about U.S. immigration. JD follows up, my wife got her green card, but we are removing conditions after 2 years. Okay, so I think but you weren't saying redo, you're saying removing, not redoing. Okay. Yeah, JD, we handle I-75 removal conditions frequently. Had a long discussion earlier in the podcast, in the live show right now about it. It's something we focus on to have a strong case so you get that green card renewed. Unfortunately, it takes so long to get the removal conditions approved. If your spouse if you're a U.S. citizen and you're living with your spouse for 3 years, you can file for a citizenship while the I-751 case is pending, which is what we almost always do. So definitely hit us up. Go to jqqlaw.com/contact. Again, the Form I-751 is one we handle a lot. We have copies of our approvals on our Instagram page. We redact them and post it there so you see. It gives you ideas on timelines too. So if you go to our Instagram page, JQKLaw Instagram, it's a great way to see approvals and timelines that are there, as well as maybe a better way to ask questions. Because on TikTok, we get bombarded with stuff, so it's hard to keep track of what's going on. But Instagram, it's much more, people don't repeat their questions a million times, so it's very, very nice you can do that. All right, guys, feel free to shoot out your questions. We only got a couple more minutes left in the show to take your questions about U.S. immigration law. In general, a lot of parts of the things we do about marriage, green cards, I-751 citizenship are the same. One thing we're seeing is marriage, green card interviews happening mandatory for almost all cases at this point. And they're doing cases that are more recently submitted in a system called last in, first out. They haven't told us this, but practically I'm seeing it. Cases I filed in December, January are getting interviews now, and cases I filed last summer are still pending. So it's something they do. They've seen this with asylum cases and other kind of cases where they'll take the most recently filed cases, try to get those out first, and the ones that are pending just remain pending, which makes it very frustrating for most people because they don't understand why. I don't understand why they do that. And JD, kind of thank you for the gifts you provided. But that's something you got to be aware of. So you're going to hear your friends and family and other people say, "Hey, my case got approved in 5 months. How come you're still pending? Your lawyer sucks," or something like that. It's not that. It's just the government. The government sucks. That's it. Andre says, "What about hold for parolees? I filed I-45 form, but it's on hold. It's not on hold. How long wait? We don't really have information on what the plans are on hold. The parole program potentially have said they've held cases that came in on Biden's parole program from certain countries in Central and South America, Venezuela, and a couple of others, that they're going to hold those if they came on the parole program. But we don't have any updated guidance what that is. But if your adjustment of status there, hopefully you got your work permit and just hang tight. You entered the U.S. lawfully, so that case has to be approved eventually. But they said they're going to do additional background checks and scrutiny, whatever that means, whatever they're going to do. But if you got a case in and it's proper, it's just a matter of waiting. There's a low chance that something bad is going to happen, other than the long delays that are part of that, which is unfortunate. All right. If everyone who's joining, please shoot out what country you're from, what city you're from if you're watching this. I like to see how big a reach we have on social media. A lot of times from all over the world, but many times in the United States. Let me know the state you're in, the country, city, all that kind of stuff. Interesting to see where everyone is. Thank you everyone for joining on YouTube and LinkedIn and TikTok and Instagram. We got a couple of viewers on each of these, several viewers on each of these, so it's really good to see. Mario, thanks for joining. Andre Haim, thank you for the gift badge as well. Gonzalez, Southern California. Me too. What part of Southern California? Thank you, Gonzalo. Appreciate it. Andre says, I'm from Ukraine, married on USC. Oh, good. Andre. Good to see you. We do a lot of marriage cases for Ukrainians. That's a typical case that we handle. Borax, thank you. Gonzalez, Long Beach. Okay, you're really close by. I'm in the Valley myself. I office in Brentwood and West LA, but I live in the Valley. The San Fernando Valley, for those who don't know. Andre, I'm from Ukraine, married USC. Where are you? Did you file your adjustment status, Andre, yet, or are you pending? Did you come on the parole program, or did you have TPS? How's it look? You have to tell us private information if you don't want, but I'm just generally seeing how things are going. Now in Fresno. Okay, good. You have a USCIS field office in Fresno. So that's the place if you did a marriage green card that you can go there. We done every once in a while do cases of that. I don't go there personally. A little bit too much of a drive, but during the pandemic, that was one of the first places to start canceling interviews, and so that was good. So a lot of my Fresno cases didn't have to do interviews because of that. And I had a client recently who got the green card. Now we filed for citizenship. Yeah, and they went to their citizenship interview in Fresno. I didn't go with them and say, "You have a clean case. You need me to come with you. Just prep it." And we got it in. They were in Bakersfield, I think, but they had to go to the Fresno field office. All right, everybody, we're about to end the show. We got a few more minutes. Feel free to shoot out your questions, but do let me know what city and state and country you're in, so I give you an idea what's going on. On your files, I came for you. Got TPS, you finished already. Also pending I-589. Well, if you're married U.S. citizen, get the green card. I-589 is a asylum case. That could take forever. And as you saw, like the TPS is a mess. You, I think it's still. I'm not sure if they extend. I think the deadline for filing. I think you got one extension out of it. But yeah, if you got married a U.S. citizen, finish off the case. Don't rely on your asylum case. Shafiq said, "I terminated my asylum in May based on I-130, but for a pending 50 months long wait. You shouldn't have terminated your asylum. I'm not sure what that means. You terminated my asylum, but I'm not sure what that means. Based on I-130, there's no need to terminate asylum based on I-130. You want to get your green card approved, have it in hand, then stop the I-485 adjustment status. So or your asylum. So I'm not sure what happened, Shafiq. Hopefully, I'm not hearing it the way I think I am, because that puts you in a difficult position. You might get sent a notice to appear in immigration court, or even be detained, because that's why you want to keep your affirmative asylum case pending if it's affirmative, not defensive. So there's a lot going on based on the facts that we got to know more. But hopefully, you have an immigration who knows what they're doing, can talk with you about that. Carmen says minor kids get banned too for overstaying U.S. states. You don't accumulate unlawful presence under the age of 18, so you don't get the 3 or 10-year ban for overstaying and leaving. But you are subject to a permanent bar, where if you're you overstay, leave, and then come back again without permission, or you get caught or deported and you come back again, you get subject to a permanent ban even if you're a child. But a 3 or 10-year ban won't apply for overstaying unlawful presence days under the age of 18. Now, unlawful presence days is a legal term, and the government does a terrible job explaining it. I don't want to get too much into it right now; it's too detailed. But show's about to end, so I'm going to take two more questions to get an answer, and we'll take it from there. CNN asks, can I file for my mom and sister one time? She's under the age of 18. So unfortunately, that system sucks. Where if you're a U.S. citizen, you apply for your mom could probably get a green card 1 or 2 years if everything is okay. But your sister is going to take 15 to 20 years. Typically, your mom will get the green card, turn around and file for your sister. That's going to take many years, 5, 6 years to get that case done because you have to get your mom green card first, year 2. Then your mom turns down and files. That's 3 or 4 years. Now, colleagues have said you could file for humanitarian parole to have your sister come to the U.S. in the meantime and wait it out while her case is pending. But, it's up to the government, and it's an unreliable process. Shafiq said, defensive asylum. Oh, I see. An author is already approved. Okay, so you maybe should have done asylum in court or asked the court to terminate the case so you could do adjustment. That's probably what you're doing. Thanks for the badge, Shafiq. So it gets highly technical where you're at, but hopefully the right path was pursued. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website, fill out your basic information. The website is jqqlaw.com/contact. And if you want to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Definitely follow us on YouTube and all these channels. Although we do our regular Tuesday show every 4 p.m. Pacific time, I do pop-ups every once in a while, so you get notifications. So follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. John Khosravi, Immigration Lawyer John, JQK Law, all these different names, U.S. Immigration, LA, something like that. So follow us so you get notification when it comes up. You can ask more questions as time comes up, because you never know when you have a question about immigration. Hopefully we'll pop in and give you a general answer about it. All right, everyone, God bless, be safe. I'll see you all next week for sure, if not sooner. Bye-bye.